thank you for taking the time to join me on the show.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
And I'm fascinated by the way that you seem to be there's a word that a friend of mine used. I'm not thinking of it right now, but you are just able to, it's like a Renaissance man almost. You're able to do like so much at the same time. We were just talking about that. So maybe let's start off. Let's just say, who's Hugo? What do you do currently? But then maybe give us a little bit of background and history of where you came from, and the different career journey, different education and career, steps along the way.
Yeah, well, that's a broad question. Thank you for having me again. And
You take it wherever you want.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like it. I like doing a lot of things, and maybe sometimes it's a weakness because I have to divide my time on.
Mm-hmm.
I have to do this and this and this and this, and it's so many things to keep track of that I just started using Google Tasks for that to keep track of. But initially, when I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut.
Mm.
Uh, when I was about to go to college, I started playing golf and I kind of fell in love with golf. I had a cousin who came here to the US in Iowa with a golf scholarship. And I was like, well, that'd be nice to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of followed his steps. I ended up in Iowa in the same college with him playing golf because I like golf so much that I decided to put my astronaut dream away
Yeah.
to continue playing golf. And it worked out. I don't know how my life would be if I followed that path of an astronaut. But then my main focus was playing golf. I didn't care about what career I was going to be doing. I started entrepreneurship actually and computer science. I had one class of entrepreneurship. I didn't love it. I feel like it was a very general business class
Mm-hmm.
with a little bit more entrepreneurial focus.
Mm-hmm.
And then I switched to international business and marketing. My dad didn't love that. He was like, marketing, that's not really a career. So I was not, I didn't really love it because I don't know. It was too broad again.
Mm-hmm.
And I had an accounting class, and I remember there was this guy. He was a senior when I was a freshman, and my cousin really admired his work ethic. And he was like, "Well, he was in accounting, and he ended up doing only a minor in accounting because it's so hard."
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of got scared a little bit. Then I became a junior, and I was like, "I'd rather do accounting than any other business classes." I actually wanted to do finance, but we didn't have finance in there, so I ended up doing accounting.
Mm-hmm.
Came to Chicago for a Chicago semester, and then landed a job as a staff accountant. But once I started working, that's when I was like, I feel like there's more to life than just working an 8-hour job. Even though I like what I do, I feel like there was so much more to it. And I was like, you probably seen those reels where you're like, I gotta make it somehow. And I started taking or reflecting on what I liked.
Mm-hmm.
Took an acting class because I was doing TikTok already, and I liked it. But starting as an actor, it's really difficult, and I also enjoyed music a lot. So I started making music.
This was after you moved to Chicago.
This was
Okay.
when I started my first job. After like 6 months,
Okay.
I started music, and then I I started music with my job, and then just recently with the boom of AI, that's when I started this cookbook.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Okay. Okay. So, what do your parents do?
my dad is he's an administrator, and my mom is an architect.
Okay. Okay. Are they entrepreneurial at all, or did
No,
they just kind of had their jobs
not
and
at
they
all.
stayed in it?
Yeah,
Okay. And I don't think it was said, but from Mexico, grew up in Mexico City
yeah,
area, correct?
yeah,
Okay.
correct.
Where did the astronaut dream come from?
I remember I was in elementary school. I think I read this book, and it was just like news,
Mm-hmm.
and there was the first Mexican astronaut, I believe, or a Mexican astronaut. I was like, oh, that'd be nice. I want that to be me one day.
Yeah.
And that's why I
Okay.
liked it. And then I really liked physics, maths. So yeah.
I feel like the analytical, we were talking about analytical stuff. I was asking about your sister earlier, and I do think that, the science brain probably translates. The accounting and science brains are somehow similar, I think, at some level. If you kind of get into accounting, not everyone can, you probably could do okay in the sciences, or vice versa too. Probably a lot of scientists out there could probably do okay as an accountant too, I'd assume. Okay. So, so then I didn't realize how some of your new ventures and stuff are so recent, but in college, it was really golf was kind of like a main dream. And did you see golf moving beyond your college career? And was there like a moment there where you realized this is golf is not long term?
Yeah, actually, because I started playing golf only 2 years before
Which is
college.
crazy that you would go into college playing golf after only playing 2 years. How many people do that?
I don't know, but I feel like that's one of my greatest assets is I become obsessive with what I want.
Sure.
And I remember I had 2 years. I was like, I need to get really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked it. So it helped a lot, obviously. But I would wake up 6 a.m. before class, start putting in my room, then go to class, get out, go practice 5 hours until there was no sunlight, come back home, putt more in my room. So it was just all day thinking about golf. When I was in class, I was watching videos on how to get better at golf.
Wow.
And it was a big obsession. Once I get to college, I remember, I don't know, like I didn't like it as much anymore. Competing, the environment that I had, I didn't really enjoy the way we were training, or sometimes there were too many factors that I didn't really like, and I didn't see golf as the end goal anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So
Interesting. Okay. And then the accounting came along because of the guy that the friend that you had, the mutual friend that your cousin had, I guess, that you really respected, and then it just kind of clicked for you after that. Like it was just like, oh, I actually really enjoy this. Really enjoy accounting.
yeah, I mean, I had my accounting classes, and out of the business classes that I took, accounting was the one that I liked the most. But honestly, I never saw my major as the thing that I wanted to do. It was just like something I had to do. So yeah.
So were there other, I mean, obviously from astronaut to golf obsession to accounting, and then to some of the career, like the dreams that you now have around music and around, the creative expression type of stuff. You mentioned TikTok earlier on in life. Were there other things earlier on that you were like doing or realizing about yourself that would point you in the direction of being a creative or being an entrepreneur? Like even back in elementary school, high school, were there things that were kind of going like, you mentioned music. Like, did you start taking music, I guess, as an example, like in high school?
Yeah. So actually, it was, I think, in high school, maybe a little earlier. I wanted to learn how to sing because I liked singing, but I was so bad at it.
Okay.
And I remember I told my dad, hey, can you get me into classes? He was like, what are you talking about? So I never got into music until I graduated and I was making money so I can invest in myself. And I remember that.
Okay.
I was like, oh, wait, I wanted to learn how to do that. And I started paying for classes for myself. But yeah, I don't think my dad, because we talked about it, and he's like, I didn't realize that you liked it that much. Otherwise, I probably would have. But yeah.
Okay. And then other aspects of your life growing up, were there other creative things that you would do? Or like, when did TikTok come on the scene? Did you do that in college or did you do it in high school as well?
Yeah. And it's kind of funny how I realized that I liked acting.
Okay.
One thing I really enjoyed when I was hanging out with friends, when I got a little bit more confident, is I enjoy making up stories on the fly. So whenever we were talking about something, I would just make up a story. And I realized that whenever it was a real story, I wouldn't be as entertaining or as funny. But when I made up something really random, everyone would laugh. And I was like, maybe I have a talent for this. I started recording myself in TikTok. And I started getting a lot of traction
Really?
from it. Yeah.
Okay.
I grew an account to 20,000 followers.
Oh my gosh.
I was live streaming on TikTok. And then I was an Omegle, you
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
and there was this guy doing something that I shouldn't have shown in TikTok,
Okay.
because you know how they change.
Yes. Yeah.
Someone appeared and then I got banned.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
it was
Gotcha.
disappointing, but I was getting a lot of traction in TikTok, and
Wow.
I started another account, but it didn't work as good as it was in the beginning. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
That's wild.
yeah.
Well, now I understand some more of the backstory around just like your appreciation for social media and the tool that it is, even with your current endeavors, which makes sense. If you've already kind of been to the place where a lot of people wish they were, the 20,000 follower or more mark, how that, were you ever thinking about monetizing at that point, or was it monetized, or?
Yeah, no, I did want to get there eventually. I just didn't know how to, and I feel like it's part of what I'm doing right now. I feel like social media is so hard to understand, and what I'm doing right now is trying to understand how the algorithm works and how to leverage hooks and understand the content from a more analytical perspective rather than just doing it. Because
Right.
I feel like for the longest time I was just making TikToks for fun.
Right.
But I never really analyzed what's working, what's not. I never really look into my stats or anything, and it's something I'm getting started on, and it's helping a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. I'm sure we'll get into some of that in a few minutes here, but thinking about dreams, thinking about one of the things, again, I admire so much about you, even from when we first would talk about, your actor aspirations or your musician aspirations or your, what you're doing on social media, all while having a full-time job, mind you, is just the fact that you're bold enough to step out there and pursue what you actually want, talk about that some more. Like where have you come internally or externally, whatever that journey has looked like to where you are. What was that like to come to that realization of what you want, but then that boldness, that courage to say, I'm going to go for it and I'm going to, sacrifice to get this done. Has that always been the case, or is there, are there other things that helped you get to that point?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And honestly, when I was in high school, I was the most shy person ever. I remember I liked hanging out with a group of friends. I just didn't want to talk. I didn't want to be the center of attention. I was not confident at all to even say anything, to say a joke. I liked being there and hearing, but that was all I wanted. And then I wanted to build confidence on myself to be like, I want to talk. I want to be funny. I want to not just be there as a fly on the wall. And then it was just a lot of practice, like getting out of your comfort zone and trying it once. And then you realize that it's not as big of a deal as you think it might be. And then I think one thing that really changed the way I thought about it is, yeah, maybe I do think or care what others think about me, but I honestly care more what I think of myself than what everyone else is. So, for example, when I start with something new, music, I know I'm not going to be good in the beginning, and I know I'm probably going to get a lot of criticism, but I'd rather get that criticism from everyone else than from myself and be critical about myself. Why don't you start? Why are you scared of that? I feel like I'd rather do what I want to do and have a good opinion of myself from me than from others. And I think that has more weight for me.
Very internally directed, I guess.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, that's a great perspective. As someone who has wrestled a lot with the fear of what other people think, I guess it can seem hard to put the most stock in what you think of you, but maybe that is a secret code, in some ways where, I don't know. Like, I guess I'm just like so curious, like, how do you get to that point where you care more about what you think about yourself than what others think about you? Like, why is that? Is that particular to you, or is that particular to all of us? Should we all, and that's kind kind of like I'm diving beneath the surface into like the psychology of it in some ways, which if we don't figure it out in this podcast, that's totally fine. But like it's I don't think I've ever heard someone say it quite like that. You know, it's like caring more about what you think of you than what other people think of you. I think that's a secret to a lot of this. Do you have any idea why that's like why that came? Was it some kind of podcast you listened to, or some kind of like?
No,
It's just
I was kind of reflecting about it one time where I'm like, well, why do a lot of people care about what others say about them than what they want?
I see,
And I was like, I do see myself starting a lot of things and not being scared of starting. And then I started thinking or reflecting, well, because I would rather so much fail and try and be comfortable with myself of, okay, at least I tried and I gave my best. Then, oh, I was too scared of trying something because that person who barely knows me was going to say something about me. Is it really worth it to put more weight on them? Because they're probably not even thinking about you.
Yeah.
You are the main character of your life, so you should care more about what you do and say than what everyone else is saying.
And I guess what's coming to mind too is like we're the ones who are going to have to, like each of us individually, we're the ones who have to live with our choices for the rest of our life. Like they're never going to, no one else externally to us is actually going to have to live the life that we have to live based on based on the choices that we choose to make.
Yeah.
Just agreeing with you. I think like I'm seeing it a little bit more clearly, I guess, you know, just this idea of keeping promises to yourself and, you know, overriding that fear. That's really cool. And it's definitely, such an admirable thing. So along those lines, like what would you say to someone who does struggle with the fear of what other people think? Maybe they're on the edge of trying to go out there and create and pursue a dream like you have. When you think about the potential of your ventures failing or you know, not working out like you thought they were going to, what do you, I mean, how do you think about that for yourself? But then how would you tell someone else, like think about that for someone else?
Yeah, no, I think you gotta find something that you're obsessed with and that is good for you. So whenever you're so obsessed with someone or with something, I mean, do you really even care about what everyone else is saying? You want it so much more than whatever other people might say. So I think when you get to that point, it doesn't really matter what everyone else is saying. So I would say find something that you really like and is good for you and that you're obsessed, absolutely obsessed with, that you won't care about everyone else. And then you're going to be so obsessed with it anyway that you're going to, it has to work. It has to work. If you're so obsessed and putting a lot of time and effort, I genuinely believe that there's no way that you can fail at all. If you stay consistent for the long time and for the long run, you're so obsessed with it, I don't think you're going to fail. I think
it's good. Yeah.
That's what I would say.
That's like, just like doing it for the love of the game is what I'm thinking of as I'm hearing you say that. Like doing it for the love of the game instead of doing it for external validation.
Yeah.
Like that's what will keep people in the game longer.
So.
And if you're like, most people are going to do it for the external validation. So your competition is going to drop off when that's not there. Yeah. And if you are the person who can say, no, I'm actually doing it because I actually just love like this is what I'd be doing. Even if I got no likes, no followers, no comments, you know, nobody subscribing, whatever, like I'd still be doing it just because I like it. You know, that's the magic. I think that's what you're saying, but I feel like that's the magic, you know, that so many people miss. It's good advice. And there's a lot of people out there who are right on the edge, you know, and they need that push to say, no, it's okay to fail, you know? How do you think about failure? Like if something were to fail, you know, do you have certain mentalities that you have around that, or, you know, things that you tell yourself if you're afraid to fail?
I am not. I think failure
You're just not. That's good.
But I think failure is a teacher. I don't think failure is bad. Again, like when we think about, I wanted to be a professional golfer, right? And I was saying it out loud. And sometimes I have a friend who sometimes makes fun of that, and that's okay to me because I learned a lot of things from it. I learned that even though it's funny to when we reflect and I was saying, oh, I'm going to be a professional golfer, and I was serious, I see a lot of value in it on my confidence and how I can apply it to other things. But also, I learned a lot from it. I learned from the failure of, I think every human being is really good at making excuses.
Mm.
And I see that failure as myself putting excuses to why I didn't achieve it. For example, my main excuse for not being a professional golfer is that my coach didn't care enough about me and I didn't have enough time to train. But when I reflect on it, I am like, well, I didn't go to train a lot because I didn't have a car and it was far. But could I have had a job and buy a car?
Mm-hmm.
Did I even try?
Mm.
So that's the excuse. And when I think about that failure, I don't think about it as a failure, but rather as a teacher of what can I learn from it for my next endeavor.
And guiding you toward really what you're meant to do, probably, ultimately, you know, because what that proved, maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, but what it proved, the fact that you maybe didn't take those steps that you could have taken or whatever, it just proved that wasn't your main love, you know, that wasn't exactly what you wanted, you know, and so then it like, all right, feedback to say, no, actually maybe more it's acting or it's music or it's, you know, whatever.
Yeah, because maybe
Makes
I
sense.
wasn't obsessed enough with it.
Right.
If I would have, I probably would have found a way. So.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's cool. I just think it's so amazing how your boldness and your courage in that. There's so many people who just I think it was, I forget if it was Chris Williamson or someone else who I listened to who said graveyards are some of the how did he say it? Graveyards are some of the richest places ever, or the probably butchering it, but it's this concept that there are a ton of wasted dreams in graveyards. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people who died with dreams on their hearts that they never took action on. And I think it's rarer and rarer to see people who are actually going after those and bold enough and courageous enough to step out there and say, hey, I'm going to care about what I think about me, as opposed to what other people think about me. And I'm going to do it, and if it's just getting it out of your system, that's how I think about it sometimes with some of my stuff that I'm working on. It's like, if that's just as simple as it is, if it's just as simple as saying, I'm just Xing this one off the list. This one's not for me, know, and then I move on, I go to the next one. But that's what it makes me think of, is the graveyard analogy. I don't think it doesn't sound like to me that you're going to die with untried things that you didn't try, I mean, maybe there's some, but like, that'll be just from a lack of time, not from a lack of gumption or courage to go out and, do it. You're just, that's admirable. That's really cool.
Thank you.
How do you balance all of the things that you have? So right now, I mean, in case, like, just to summarize, in case it hasn't already been said, there's the full-time job that you have as an accountant. You've just been promoted recently to financial analyst, right? And then, so that's full-time. And then there's the music that you're putting out into the world. You're doing vlogs on YouTube. You're doing some social media related to the music. I know that. I'm trying to think, what else am I missing? It's the AI recipe stuff that we're going to talk about, that entrepreneurial venture. Am I leaving anything else out? There's like a bunch of things though. So I guess my question is, one, if I'm leaving anything out, correct me. But then two, what's the strategy to kind of keep consistent with all this stuff?
It's hard. It is hard, but I'm just trying to find a way to allow myself to have more revenue streams, to have more freedom to, because I feel like money helps you in a bunch of ways, not only because I'm greedy or because I want money, but I want money to probably help my family,
right,
not have to worry about a lot of things. Money can help with a bunch of problems, so that's the first thing. But how do I manage that? And it's gotten a little harder. I just downloaded Google Tasks, and I'm putting myself a bunch of daily tasks, weekly tasks, and monthly tasks. So I'm reviewing that in every day, and try to find the time to do what I need to do and have to do. Because again, I feel like I'm obsessed with it to the point that I know it's going to work out eventually. And it's I think the key to this is building systems
Hmm.
that I can replicate and every time spend less time in every single task. AI is a great tool that is
We were talking
helping
about
a
that.
lot with that. So I feel like we're lucky to be in this time of humanity. Because like before, you wouldn't have an assistant to help you with a bunch of things.
Right.
It saves a lot of time. So
yeah, I mean, somehow you're able to still manage. I guess I'm fascinated by it too, because I also have a lot of irons in the fire right now, and part of starting businesses and going after these things means there's a lot of upfront cost, a lot of upfront sacrifice related. But then there's you. I know you're also obsessed with your health. You're also obsessed with like getting in the gym, and I'm assuming like trying to get a good sleep score each night and that type of thing. Like there's just so much. So like, on a given day, like, do you have certain days throughout the week where it's like one day I'm going to focus on this part of, like this business or this content, or one day I'm going to focus on music, or I'm going to focus on, my acting endeavors or whatever, do you kind of split it up that way at all? Or is it just kind of like,
I have to,
yeah,
otherwise it wouldn't be doable.
yeah,
But I try to do things every day for one of them at least.
yes, okay.
So, for example, for music and YouTube, my fitness channel, I want to do a TikTok every day, or try to do it mostly every day. Then I have my YouTube video, which is every 2 weeks. So I have more time on that, and I can spend maybe 5-10 minutes in that every day. Then it's just splitting it up and finding what's a priority that day. Try to stay consistent, whether it be one thing or 10 things in one day, at least doing one.
Yep.
To keep going and to keep consistent. And honestly, also, I feel like this was something that I was lacking for the longest time. I'm a very consistent and persistent person, but I wasn't really trying to improve. Like I was just doing the bare minimum.
Yeah.
And reflecting again on it, I'm like, well, I'm doing the bare minimum, but I'm not even getting better. I'm actually getting worse because I don't want to do it. I need to do the bare minimum, but give my best effort and get better. Otherwise, the consistency doesn't even matter anymore.
That's interesting. Yeah. As someone who I feel like has been in that boat before as well, where it's like, I just check in a box, it can so easily just be reduced to that. It's just like checking a box, and it's really not. It's really just doing it for the principle of the thing, and nobody cares if you're just kind of doing it without passion.
Yeah, no, I was reflecting about it with ChatGPT,
okay.
and it told me, well, I think what you're doing is you become a little better than average, and then you call it a day. You stay there instead of trying to really become the best at it.
Yeah.
I'm like, that makes so much sense, and I'm really definitely doing that.
Yeah. Wow. Well, yeah, that's just admirable that you can even find the time every day with a full-time job to give to something else. For those out there who might be working a side hustle or trying to get something off the ground, trying to take, a step in the entrepreneurial world or whatever, do you have any tips related to getting to the end of a full work day and knowing that there's still actual work to be done and still getting the energy back up? Like just from a daily routine standpoint, like when do you work out? When do you, do you find in the mornings before work are really important to kind of capture for your entrepreneurial stuff or your creative stuff? Or is it the evenings? Or, like obviously it's gonna be different for everybody, but like from your perspective and the way that you make it work to handle all these plates at once, what's the daily schedule look like?
Yeah. Well, honestly, I feel grateful that most of the time I work from home.
Sure.
So that gives me a lot of time, and it's an advantage to people who have
a commute,
an on-site job. So I feel really grateful about that. And what I do is I wake up 7 a.m. So it's not super early, not super late. 7 a.m. Go on a walk, come back, get coffee, make breakfast. And I feel like my energy, because before I started paying attention to my nutrition, I always felt sluggish. I felt like I didn't want to do anything after work. And now that I'm paying more attention to my nutrition, I don't notice it, because whenever you feel good, you don't notice it.
Right. 1,000%.
But thinking about it is like, before I used to struggle with energy. Now I don't.
Wow.
And I'm eating healthy. I'm eating whole foods. I'm prioritizing my nutrition. So it comes from that, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I work full-time job, 9 to 5. I get out of my 9 to 5. I go to the gym, work out, come back, have dinner, and then the remaining of my time is just TikTok, YouTube, website, and grinding on that. But yeah, I honestly think that my energy comes from my nutrition.
Wow. Yeah.
Before I started paying attention to that, it would be 6 p.m. I'm like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to work on music. I don't want to do that. And I had many days that I didn't do anything, but barely ever happens now that I'm paying more attention to my nutrition.
It's a good word. That's a good word. That's certainly something we've connected on, and certainly something that I've seen as well in my own life, which is just fascinating. That's great. Okay, so speaking of eating, speaking of nutrition, this is a great segue into talking about AI and talking about your AI venture, which happens to do with recipes. So tell us about that. Tell us where the genesis of that came from, why you see an opportunity out there right now. Tell me the story of that entity.
Well, let me ask you something first. Do you feel like you also, whenever you started and pay more attention to your nutrition, have more energy?
Yeah, I would initially I would have described it less as more energy and more as like mental clarity.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it manifested for me more, where, I think the brain fog and and I can even still tell, I think the awareness, the awareness has been built up to where I can tell, like when I eat a bunch of carbs in the middle of the day or whatever, I can tell like, man, I'm like super tired, like super sluggish or super tired. I'm not thinking quite right, or the gluten thing, like trying to play with if gluten's a sensitivity for me or not. You can tell like eating gluten, eating wheat stuff, whatever. I can kind of a day later or whatever, you can be like, I think I'm feeling a little brain fog because of this, and you can just, I think for me, it's like developing that bodily awareness to go, no, it's actually really connected to what you eat. And once you start putting the connections together, you're like, oh, okay. Like now I can make decisions in a different way and be more intentional with this. From an energy perspective, I think for me, energy more depends on how I sleep.
Okay.
So I don't know if I've linked it as much to the food. I speak more to the mental clarity with the food, but with the sleep, it's like, I know if I got a bad night, I'm like, I'm gonna need a nap or, something midday.
But also nutrition helps with falling asleep easier.
It's true. So. Yeah. Typically it's just me like shorting myself on sleep more than anything, like getting 6 hours when I should have gotten 7.5 or 8, or whatever. But that's just kind of common knowledge. So, but yeah, the nutrition is a big part of it. And I know that part of your venture is the healthy meals.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe get into that.
Yeah, no. So for the longest time, I went to the gym, but I was just going to be healthy, or I thought I was being healthy, and then I was trying to eat healthy as well. But what you don't know is when you don't really investigate what calories are and what macronutrients are and all of that, you just think that healthy food are gonna get you a good physique and get you to feel well. But that was not really the case for me, because I used to follow this TikTok guy who was making healthy recipes, adjusted to fit in your macros. And I was eating that, but I was gaining weight. So it didn't really work for me. And I was like, well, what am I doing wrong? And then I started doing actual research. Okay, calories. What are calories? I'd never understood what calories were. What are macros? And whenever I started to really follow what I'm supposed to be doing, because I wanted to lose a bunch of body fat, I started doing a caloric deficit. Fat fell. I lost, I don't know, like 5-8% of body fat. And I'm like, wow, this is what I really wanted to know when I was in college or in high school. Why is it not easier to access? So when I was in this caloric deficit, I really thought about food all the time. So I wanted to find, or I was making adjustments to the food that I liked that was higher in calories, making adjustments so it could fit in my macros to get from 800 calories to 500 calories with the same taste exactly. So that happened. And then one time I was on Facebook scrolling. I see this video, and I'm pretty sure it was AI, and it was just a cooking video. All the comments, I was like, I'm sure they're going to be saying it's AI, because this is just when AI started exploding.
Mm-hmm.
No comment was, this is AI. I'm like, am I crazy? So then I will go into her profile, and she has a cookbook link. I'm like, oh, I can do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I already know my recipes. I already know how to adjust it.
Right.
So why don't I leverage AI as well, and put what I wanted to find for everyone else?
Yeah. Right.
And have AI do it for me. Obviously, me reviewing what it's giving me.
Right.
And that's how I got started into it.
Okay. Wow. So it was someone else who's doing the same thing essentially. That was the catalyst. But then you almost became a low key nutritionist yourself, where like some of those concepts, the macronutrients, the calories. I mean, I was exposed to some of them when I was in my nutrition class in college. Did they ever do nutrition at your college? Like, did you ever take a nutrition class at all or anything?
No, and that's the funny thing, that whenever I started working my first job, I was going to FFC in
Right.
Gold Coast actually, and the nutritionist told me, well, you're probably under eating. And I already had, I don't know, I was already probably at 17% body fat.
Yeah.
But when you don't know and a nutritionist tells you that,
Right.
you're just going to start eating a lot more. And I loved it because I like eating food. So then I got worse. I'm like, what's going on? Why the nutritionist told me that?
Right.
So that's why I also started doing my research.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's the combination of your pain point in your own life that became somewhat of a passion or obsession that then was like, okay, can I monetize this? And you found a way, So, well, you're working on a way. We're working on it. Yeah. So, okay. So obviously it's alongside, it's the AI to build the videos, build the recipes, but then utilizing social media. How important is it, at this stage to, not just use AI, but use AI in tandem with social media? Like, is there a particular opportunity with that right now?
Well, I think right now there's a really nice or good opportunity for everyone, because it's just becoming a thing. And I think we're just on the verge of everyone using it.
Right.
But I think you need to use it intentionally, because like everyone can go into ChatGPT and ask it a bunch of things. And what I realized is that the prompt that you give it really impact the output that you get. So I was working on something for my job, my 9 to 5.
Right.
And I was struggling with something. So I give it a prompt, a really bad prompt, asking a question about a system that we use, gave me an output, and I was down this rabbit hole like 10 minutes. I got so frustrated because I know there was a way to do it, and it was telling me that there wasn't a way. So then I'm like, okay, take a second, start a new chat, give it a really nice prompt, and go for it. I do that instantly. It gives me what I needed. So the input equals the output. And I think everyone needs to understand that, because a lot of people, I see a lot of people talking about, no, AI, like ChatGPT cannot even do this for me, this simple addition. How can I trust it to do my job? But probably the question was not great at the beginning.
Okay.
So I think that's where the biggest gap is for everyone, and what you can take advantage of.
So really, I mean, yeah, in order to win in the current environment, it's like, well, who can learn how to ask the correct questions or prompt it correctly?
Yeah.
The game is really a game of not necessarily creativity, because a lot of people have a lot of creative ideas out there, but the game is more about like, how effective are you at utilizing the tools, which means how effective are you at building the prompt?
Yeah. And I feel like that has been the case for any era.
That makes sense. Yeah. That kind of plays into another question that I was curious about, related to the recipes and stuff, because a lot of people, like, I've told some people about, like, oh, I've got this friend who does AI recipes or whatever, and there's this, especially there's a couple who are actually like culinary people, and they're like, particularly triggered by it because they're like, oh, we don't want AI to take over our business, and that's just, AI can't do what humans can do, related to like meal planning and making good recipes and stuff like that. I've seen some of your videos; they actually look very realistic and really good. But I think there is this question with people who either are on the receiving end of it or are looking to get into the space, like you did. How do you talk about, like, how do you counter people's arguments that say, oh, AI is just, if you put it on social media like that, it's just gonna be like more AI slop or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, we need more of this.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I agree with them.
Okay.
First of all, let me put it that
That's
way.
great.
I'd rather have humans do it,
Right.
but I don't have the resources right now to hire someone to do it
Right.
for me.
Right.
So when you don't have the resources to start,
Mm-hmm.
and AI is a tool that you have right now,
Right.
because of the year that we live in,
Mm-hmm.
it'd be stupid not to use it,
Right.
honestly.
Right.
So that's the thing. It'll help me to get to the point where I can hire a real
Mm-hmm.
person,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe myself. I can have the time to record those videos and do it myself.
Right.
I totally would
Right.
rather do that, but
Right.
right now I cannot afford that. So I agree with them. And the second thing is that for the recipes and the ingredients,
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT is helping me build it. I'm not helping ChatGPT.
That's a good way to talk about it. Yeah.
I'm giving it, okay, I want this dish,
Mm-hmm.
help me rebuild it.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I don't like an ingredient, I'm like, no, change this or change that. And then it audits the macros and the calories, the totals.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a faster way to do it. Because if I was to do it from scratch, it would take me a million years.
Right. Right.
So I see it
totally.
as a tool.
Well, and so much of it, knowing the nutrition behind it, knowing the, the calculations and the macros and the calories and all these things, like you're in this for a particular purpose, for a particular audience who wants to optimize that part of their health journey. And that's a lot of just like basic math and like calculations that spreadsheets can do, but you don't have time to do. Like, so much faster, I can imagine, with ChatGPT, if not just instantaneous, So that makes sense. When it comes to AI broadly speaking, what have been some of your best resources when it comes to like learning? I'm sure it's been, like most of us, a lot of self-teaching, right?
Yeah.
And using the AI itself to learn. But what else has stood out to you as like helpful tools?
Well, honestly, I struggle a lot with like phone addiction.
Mm-hmm.
But the nice thing about it is that my TikTok has become really educational.
Okay.
So I'm sometimes doom scrolling on my TikTok, but I get a lot of videos on how to do this with Excel or how to do this with AI. So it's just my algorithm became very educational on TikTok. So my main resources have been TikTok right now.
Okay.
And it's funny to say because whenever my mom says, no, I saw it from TikTok, I kind of laugh at her and I'm like, what are you doing? But here I am doing the same thing. So it is funny.
Yeah.
And then whenever I want to get deeper into it, I look in YouTube or, but I test it.
Mm-hmm. So in addition to like ChatGPT, then like earlier we were working out, we talked about Claude, as another alternative. Are there other like specific AI agents or tools or stuff that you use on a regular basis in any of these ventures? Like I know you can modify, I don't know. I'm still learning a lot about it myself, but I know you can modify ChatGPT probably to like build an agent, or you can modify Claude to build an agent, or maybe Claude is an agent itself. I don't even fully understand yet, but like then there are these more niche or particular tools, right? Do you use any of those or?
Well, yeah. So obviously, I think everyone has started using a ChatGPT as their first tool.
Right.
So I was using that. I remember the first time they released agents in ChatGPT, and I was really excited about it. So I tested them. They were horrible. They were really bad. Or I don't know, maybe it was a user error that it was not great, but I didn't like them. Then just a couple weeks ago, I started using Claude. They have co-work, and it's just so much better than ChatGPT from an agent perspective. But then what I do right now is I have this system where for example, I want to get into a new venture. I start a new chat with ChatGPT and I tell it, You are an expert prompter in ChatGPT. Help me build instructions for a project. So I give it everything that I want and tell it, make as many questions as you can to understand best. Gives me questions, I respond to them, and it gives me instructions for the project.
Yep.
I drop the instructions in the project, and then from the project, it's easier to start because it has all the context that you want. And then obviously try to give it a really good first prompt. But for my cooking, my cookbook, what I'm doing right now is I have chat with ChatGPT, which is my project manager, and I tell it, okay, we need a plan. What do we need to do to get the website to the place that we want it? Okay, we need to audit the website first. Let's get Claude do it with co-work. Give me a prompt to give it to Claude. I give it to Claude. It audits the website, gives me an output. I copy and paste it to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of back and forth. I feel like I'm just a broker between their conversation.
Right.
But yeah, those are my main two tools. I used to use LoveArt to generate images. Is really good. I think that one is powered by Nano Banana.
Okay.
And I believe that one is with Google Gemini.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, whatever you want to do, if you Google it, or even ChatGPT can tell you what tool is best for this, what I want, and it'll give you a tool.
I think that's one of the things that a lot of people miss, especially on the earlier stages of this, is using AI to understand AI, or using AI to use AI better. It's like, no, it's kind of like another person on the other side. Is like, good communication means sometimes you have to ask them, like, what do you need from me? It's like almost having like an emotional discussion with your spouse or something. It's like, what can I do to like serve you better? It's like asking ChatGPT that genuinely is like, what can I do to like, what kind of information do you need from me in order to like accomplish the mutual goal? That's what I hear you saying. And I think that's like step one is treating ChatGPT or Claude like a Google search bar. Step two is maybe using ChatGPT as like a brainstorming partner to say, hey, help me think through this or whatever. Step three, or like elite level almost, is like, why don't you AI tell me what I need to give you, like coach me up on how to use you best, kind of thing.
Yeah, I haven't done that. So I'm probably going to start doing that now that you say that.
Well, no, but that's what you're describing though. It sounds like, like, how is it different than what you just described,
Well, I'm just having ChatGPT tell me how to use Claude, but I haven't asked ChatGPT to help me
use ChatGPT.
So
interesting. That'd be like another, that'd be another layer of that. Right now you're just pitting Anthropic against OpenAI.
They love it, probably.
They love it. Yeah, let's get some enemy intelligence there. No, that's funny. Okay, cool. So other than some of those tips, you mentioned TikTok as a resource that you've used. You've mentioned some of what we just talked about, which is like using AI to help learn AI or prompt, whatever. Are there other things that you think young people our age and below should be doing right now to kind of position themselves well with AI?
With AI. I think don't be as skeptical about it. I feel like a lot of people are not using it because either they're skeptical or they think that it's going to make you worse at what you do.
Right.
But you need to understand how to use it first. So what I would recommend to someone who, for example, was in college, spend time on really understanding how to use AI. So I don't think jobs are going to be exactly the same, and even by the end of the year, and probably someone who's graduating, it'll change the whole game for them.
Yeah.
What they learned for 4 years is going to change whenever they graduate. So I think, try to learn as much as you can. There's a million free resources. I know that Anthropic, I think they just released a guide on how to use Claude. But yeah, just get ready for it. Your obviously you need your technical skills because whenever you use Claude, for example, for Excel, you need to double check what it does for you. Because they make mistakes. They're not perfect. So think about it. You're their boss. How can you use them to perform better?
Yep. I really like the way that you said, like, how do you say it? You said, ChatGPT is helping me. I'm not helping ChatGPT. I think that framed it up it's a very subtle distinction there. It's not like people would oftentimes think through that, but subconsciously it helps us understand that it's still the human being in the driver's seat, even with making recipes or whatever, but we're utilizing the tools and almost duplicating ourselves in a way and saying, hey, I've got another person,
Yeah.
use that term loosely, but another task completer to manage, and it's expanding my leverage, my capacity. I think that's helpful for people who are skeptical out there. I think that's helpful. What's the next step for the recipe business then? What are you looking forward to in this next year?
Yeah. So right now, my main business model didn't work. But I think that's fine. I think that's part of the journey. I haven't made money yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just learning, make mistakes again,
Right.
fail,
Be
and
quick.
try
Yeah.
again.
Mm-hmm.
But understand that your failure is going to teach you something. You don't have to stay there and be like, you know what? I think that's it. I'm never going to make money from it.
Right.
I think that's the worst thing that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Just learn from it, move on, and build something better. So right now, I was doing TikToks,
Right.
and thinking back about it, and from Claude's audit,
Mm-hmm.
is that my content was entertainment. It was not sales focused.
Gotcha.
So I kind of turned it around, and what I'm working right now, this morning, it was building an email marketing process so they can keep something for free on the front end, but get their email.
Yep.
They're going to get it for free, but I get their email.
Right.
Now, with their email, I'm going to do email marketing. And email marketing conversions, it gets easier to convert once they give you their email.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think that's next for me. Build email marketing, finish that, and start running ads for it.
Okay.
And again, I was watching this podcast, the CEO Diaries.
Yeah, Diary of CEO.
Chris Corner, I think
Okay.
it was. And he was saying he couldn't emphasize more how good meta ads are for making money. He called it a money machine, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But I've used meta ads in the past for a playlist that I grew. It was kind of like another side thing that I had with music.
Okay.
And meta ads are amazing. Like once you get an ad that works, it targets the right people, and it is crazy.
Okay.
So I feel confident about this next step for my website.
Yes. So the goal, just to make it practical, very practical for folks who are listening, is the goal is ultimately to be able to sell recipes.
Yeah.
That are particular, that you've used ChatGPT to help, or AI in general to help you develop, that are macro friendly, or macro for people who are macro sensitive, I suppose, who are really pursuing goals nutritionally. But
not even necessarily just for them.
Okay.
Let me stop you there.
Sure,
What I see from this business is, or my idea is, to have a cookbook per country.
Okay.
So have recipes. I started with Mexico because that's the one that I'm most familiar with.
Right.
But I want to start doing research eventually about maybe Peruvian food that is really good, U.S. food, Italian food, and try to figure out how to adjust those recipes to be lower in calories, because I think most countries are struggling with obesity. So if you can adjust the recipe to taste the same, be lower in calories,
Right.
wouldn't that help a lot of people?
Yeah.
Whether they are looking for a goal physique or not, even losing a little bit of body fat can change your life a lot. And if you have cleaner ingredients, also, we're talking about how better we feel whenever we eat healthier.
Totally. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not necessarily only for them.
Right.
They might be the main target, but I feel like this could help everyone.
Yeah.
That's what I see.
Yeah. So it's really just building awareness, bringing awareness to that, and then like selling these cookbooks eventually. Like that's going to be the goal. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And not only that, but then you've got a song dropping this weekend, right?
I do.
Correct.
Yeah.
So maybe as a segue, as we finish things out here on this episode, where else can people find you? You've got your YouTube, you've got your Spotify, you've got your, give us a rundown. Where can people find you?
So my Instagram is Hugo Dorsey, Hugo_Dorsey.
Okay.
I have a YouTube channel, which is also Hugo Dorsey for music, and then another YouTube channel for nutrition, which is Hugo PD14.
Nice. Okay.
Also Facebook, same thing, Hugo Dorsey, and TikTok, Hugo_Dorsey, I believe.
Okay. And the recipes, we'll some of this stuff out,
the website is called Eatsy.
Eatsy. Okay.
So
cool. Yep.
Yeah.
And then that would be the same TikTok.
TikTok is Eatsy. I think it's recetas_Eatsy.
Okay.
So it's in Spanish, recipes_Eatsy. Cool. Yeah, that's the name of the website, and people are gonna love the recipes.
Yeah, well, I'm excited that it's going out there, and excited to see if some people are pushed toward this even through our conversation. So, thanks for your willingness to be on, and again, I'm inspired by the way that you have gone after your dreams. You've given us an example of what that looks like, and you're not giving a crap about what other people think of you, and I think that's a really good quality that you have. So thanks for your friendship for me, and your willingness to come on today.
Thank you.
Until next time.
Yeah.